Hello, boys and girls. Before we get started on our mini lesson, I'd like to show you my notebook. We are doing addition of integers today. That's review packet page 3. And I'm going to show you my notebook so that you can pause and look at it and take notes if you need to. Now your notebook should look similar, and you should have this highlighted. 322, locating negative numbers, and then more addition and subtraction of integers. So for me, mine starts on page 70 here. Okay, and so we've got a number line drawn. When we move to the right, the numbers get greater. So no matter where you start, if you are on number 2 and you move to the right 3 times, 3, 4, 5, you're going to end up at 5, which is obviously a greater number than 2. But it's the same thing down here. Let's say you started at -4 and you add 3, you're going to move to the right. 1, 2, 3, that's -1. And -1 is actually greater than -4. So wherever you start on the number line, when you move to the right, the numbers get greater. And you can see that's true when you look at the positive integers. It's obviously true. And then when you move to the left, the numbers get smaller. And again, if you look at just the right side, it's obvious that the numbers get smaller as you move to the left. So it's the same thing though. The same is true for the negative side of the number line. Okay, and then the other page that I marked was, there's another way of thinking about this too. And that is what we're going to go over right now. But you can pause if you'd like to and take notes on that. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at number 1 on page 3. I'll show you on the number line first, and then I will show you with the pluses and minuses. Eventually, though, you are going to have to imagine this in your head. The numbers get so big that you won't be able to draw a number line long enough, and you won't be able to write enough pluses and minuses to cancel each other out. So it's important that you get good at this and be accurate when you're doing it so that eventually you can see it in your head, which you'll have to do with much larger and much smaller numbers. Okay, so we have 4. Here's 4. Plus -2. Negative means you move to the left on the number line. 1, 2. So 4 plus a -2 is 2. Okay, now let me show you with pluses and minuses. If it doesn't have any sign out in front, it's a positive, okay? Or if it has a plus sign out in front, it's a positive. So we have 4 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have 2 negatives. 1, 2. And a positive and a negative will cancel each other out. Look, +1 minus 1 is 0. That's how we know that. So that cancels each other out. +1 minus 1 is 0. Cancels each other out. Or they cancel each other out. Okay, and then we have 2 positives there. See, it's a +2. Okay, let's look at another one. Let's do number 4. -10 plus 6. Even -10, that's quite a bit for me to go ahead and draw a number line. You can certainly do that, but this time I'm just going to use this strategy. And I find that this strategy is really useful for kids who are having trouble with the number line and who are just struggling with it so that they're not getting accurate answers. So this really helps, okay? So we're going to do a -10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. -10 plus 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? We know that a negative and a positive, they cancel each other out. If you start with a negative and you move to the right one, making it and you add 1 positive, then you get 0. And what do you have left over? A +4. Okay, so I want to do one where they are both negative, and I'm going to make one up, okay? So we'll just call this example. Let's do -3 plus a -5. Another way to write this would be -3 minus 5. You don't need the plus sign there. It's minus, it's negative. Minus and negative are synonyms. They mean the exact same thing. Okay, so -3, -1, -2, -3. And then we have a -5. Now if we have a -1 and we move to the left, that is not going to cancel out, is it? We're not going to get back to 0. So what you have to do is you're not going to write these underneath because you're not canceling each other out. Look, if you did, okay, so we have -3 minus 5, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. If you cancel these two out, they don't cancel out. A -1 plus a -1 is -2. So you have to be careful not to do it this way. When the signs are the same, you have to do side by side. So let's start here. -3, -1, -2, -3, plus a -5, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. And how many negatives is that? It's 8, -8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So -8. They're both the same. So the best way to get good at this is to practice, and to practice accurately. If you're not practicing accurately, then when the numbers get much larger and much smaller, it's going to be really hard to do. And also, this is just a really, really basic and essential skill for the algebra classes that you have coming up in middle school. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.